Welcome, everybody. I have with me a very, very special guest, Mr. Adolfo Acosta. Did I say that right? Acosta? Adolfo Acosta, who, if you don't know who he is, I suggest you look up Tower of Power, because he is part of the Tower of Power Horns, and he has been a member of the Tower of Power of Horns since the year 2000. Welcome, Adolfo. I appreciate you joining me today.
Thanks, Michael. Can I call you Mike or Michael?
I prefer Michael.
Thank you, Michael. Glad to be here. Thanks for this opportunity.
Well, actually, thank you for the opportunity, because I know you don't normally do these kind of things, and I understand that you've been asked a couple of times to do something like this, and the fact that you accepted my invitation really speaks volumes. I have some questions for you. You're from the Santa Barbara area, right, California, and you studied at the University of North Texas, and you played in the famed 1 O'clock Band there, right?
Yep.
Okay. And what years were you there at North Texas State?
Well, I was at North Texas from, I think 92, 93 or so to 98.
Yeah. Okay. And I take it you graduated there with a degree in trumpet performance, or was it something else, or did you not actually graduate, so to speak?
I did not graduate, Yeah, I wish I would have. I wish I would have had it more together, but I was just there to, yeah.
That's fine. I understand that's not something that to be ashamed of, because look where it got you. So in 1998, when you finished at North Texas State, you went on tour with one of my heroes, Maynard Ferguson, right? For what, 2 years?
A couple of years. Yeah. Well, I'd been at UNT for 5 years, and I wasn't the best student. I was doing all the music stuff, but the other stuff, like wasn't taking care of my business. But I'm thinking, man, what am I going to do? I've spent 5 years there, and then all of a sudden I got the opportunity to audition for Maynard Ferguson. And at that time I was sending in a tape or a CD. I can't remember which one it was, but I think I sent in a tape, and I got selected, and then I got to go play with him, and that was kind of like the audition. I think it's probably playing with the band, and they liked me and they kept me, and yeah, it was 2 years. It was great. It was getting to play so many concerts, back to back. So that was really cool, man, to perform so many concerts, so many nights of the week throughout the year. And because at that point I hadn't been playing too many gigs, and it really helps with nerves doing it a lot, It becomes normal. It becomes normal.
Yeah.
So, and I like traveling. I always liked being in different places, seeing new places, and it was just really exciting.
I bet. And playing with, like I said, he was one of my heroes. I mean, I can't tell you how many times I saw him live, and to actually be on tour with him. Bobby always told some funny stories about working with and talking with Maynard. And anything in particular that you'd like to share about Maynard that's unique, that's not embarrassing, so to speak?
I mean, I remember meeting him on the phone, and it was just really kind of bizarre, kind of weird meeting one of my idols, and as he is to many of us trumpet players, and I get on the phone with him because I was talking to his manager first, and then she passes the phone to Maynard. I'm going to pass the phone to Maynard now. I'm like, oh,
yeah, what?
And he starts talking to me. He says, "Hey, Adolfo, I really like your name. It sounds like I forget what he said, but he says, my name is Adolfo Acosta. Sounds really good. Maynard Ferguson. Sounds like I should be wearing kilts, And he was just so happy and so nice and really easy to be around. So there weren't any nerves being around Maynard. He was really cool.
Okay, yeah, I bet that was just a blast. And you said you toured. I mean, you played a lot. When you say a lot, be more specific, like 4 days out of the week, 5 days out of the week, or not as much?
For about, I think it was like 5 days a week, maybe 4 or 5 days a week. Sometimes it was 6 days a week. And my first tour with Maynard, well, the first long tour, I did a couple small tours like in the summertime before the touring began, but the first big tour was 2 months, I think. Was it 2 months? Yeah, I think it was gone for 8 weeks, and that was like the US East Coast mostly, and then we went to Europe for a month, and then I got home to Dallas, and I'm like, wow, that just kicked my butt, but it was fun.
I bet it was. So now in 2000, you joined TOP, Tower of Power, and you've been with them ever since. How did that happen? I mean, was that luck, or was that a strategic thing? How did you end up there?
I think it was luck. I mean, same with the Maynard thing, luck, being at the right place at the right time. I've just been lucky so far, to have the in. And when I started playing with Maynard, I was playing with the trumpet section was myself, Mike Bogart, actually Carl Fisher was playing before Mike Bogart, but then Mike Bogart came on like a couple weeks after I started playing, and then Frank Abrahamson was playing trumpet as well, and he was Maynard's valet, and we all played well together. And I was playing first at that time, believe it or not, and Mike was playing second, and the solos and Maynard's high stuff, and Mike and I just locked in really well together, and found out that he had auditioned for Tower previously, but didn't get it at that time. And then he left Maynard's band, and then he got the call to go out and play with Tower. And maybe about a half year after that happened, they needed a second player, and they were auditioning guys, and a tour was coming up, and they were in a crunch, and they asked Mike if he knew anybody that could come and fill in, and he mentioned my name because we played well together on Maynard,
Right.
And I went in and I filled in, and I was really prepared. Mike helped me prepare, and I did a tour in Europe with them for a month, and then they asked me if I wanted to come back and do the next tour. I'm like, sure, of course, and
Yeah.
and it kind of kept on happening like that. And then until it was one day they said, hey, if you want to be in the band, and I said, yeah. So
Of course,
yeah,
absolutely.
yeah, and it was just luck. I mean, being at the right place at the right time. I've just been lucky,
Yeah, well, and that's, sometimes that's just the way it happens. And as you said, you were prepared, and you had someone, because Mike Bogart played in the band for how long? I mean, he was there, and then he kind of pulled you in. So that's awesome. I think that's great. Again, as you said over and over, being in the right place in the right time. So playing with TOP, playing with Tower of Power must just be amazing. I mean, you guys, I looked at your tour schedule. You just came off of a tour, and you're going back out at the beginning of March, and you guys are doing all these different things. What is your favorite TOP song to play? What is your personal favorite?
Well, I was thinking about that. My answer used to be "Can't You See," and I still like that song.
Mm-hmm.
But recently, there's a song we do called "As Surely as I Stand Here," and it's an older one, and as well. And I love playing that tune. The arrangement is so nice. It's just a really, really beautiful song. And but yeah, we're busy. Yeah.
Yeah, no joke. You guys are, and you guys released an album not too long ago. It was 50 years of funk and soul. You guys played live at the Fox Theater,
Oh yeah,
right
right,
out in
yeah,
Oakland.
yeah.
That just got released. That was absolutely amazing. I listened to that the other day, and I was like, you guys were tight. Oh my goodness. Was that recorded over the course of a couple of days, or was that just like one night?
That concert, which was kind of like the 50th anniversary kind of party. It was 2 nights.
Okay.
And they picked and chose which cuts that would make the album.
Right.
But, yeah, it's exciting, man. I mean,
well, it's not something that you, I'm sure you don't take that for granted. I mean, okay. My favorite of all the ones that I listen to, and you can tell me if you like it, is Squid Cakes.
Oh yeah, yeah, of course.
That is just such a funk song. I remember a long time ago watching the original group played that on David Letterman's show. And I thought, oh, that's such a great song. So I was going to ask your opinion of that. Is that a song that you like to play? I mean, it seems like that is just listening to Doc honk on that Barry and then listening to the horns play and everything. That must be that one sounds like a kick in the butt to play.
You know, I really do. As far as other songs that I like playing, I will say selfishly, I do like playing Squib Cakes because I get to play a solo in it.
Yeah.
And not only a solo, but it's actually in a comfortable key for me. And the tempo is in a nice place. So it's pretty cushy, you know? So, but, so yeah, I really enjoy playing it. So selfishly, because I get to play something really different than I usually get to play throughout.
Do you solo on, because the original one that I remember, because I went back to look at it, the original one I remember was on flugelhorn. Do you play it on trumpet or flugel?
I play it on flugelhorn. Yeah. So, you know, it's a total different, I play differently on flugel than I do on trumpet. So, and okay. I just stick to the, you know, and I don't do the really low notes that Greg Adams did. He had that fourth valve on that. I don't know if he might've had a Getson, I'm not sure, but I don't play that low. So, but I don't play like him either. And I really like Greg Adams playing too, you know?
Right. But that doesn't mean you don't have to play like him. The idea is to put your own soul into it. So looking at your schedule, I mean, you guys tour a lot, but on average, minus the pandemic, let's not talk about the pandemic, but minus the pandemic, you guys are playing how many gigs a year on average?
Well, you know, the answer for that is like we were on the road about 200 days a year. It might have gone up a little bit more, but we do about 150 gigs a year.
Okay, so that's a lot. Yeah, and to be on the road 200 plus days a year, that's a lot. I know, but you know, does it ever get old?
No, I mean, so of course, sometimes you know when it feels old is when you haven't been able to sleep properly, like a couple nights in a row, or even one night will throw you off. That hurts a little bit, but no, I enjoy it a lot. I really do. Sometimes I don't want to go home, you know.
So what's the most? So and not to put you on the spot, but what's the most unique place that you guys have done a gig? I mean, with the Tower of Power Horns, is there any place in particular that sticks out? I'm sure Europe, Italy, or France, or you know, Middle East, any place, South Africa. Is there any place in particular that sticks out that's been rather unique for you?
That's a good question. You know, we did Istanbul, Turkey, and that was a different place. I've never been, you know, and that was pretty cool and exciting and unique for me. We just played in the Philippines. I'd never been there before, you know. I'll probably think of something later today, you know.
Well, that's fine. I'm just curious, you know, because yeah, like I said, I didn't mean to put you on the spot, but you guys have been everywhere. I mean, golly. I'd like to ask what's the place you haven't been, but I don't think there's any place you haven't been.
I haven't been to Greece.
Oh, okay.
That would be a cool place to go. I know they played there.
Yeah, but you have to convince them to take you. You have to convince them now.
Oh, I haven't been to Scotland or Ireland. Okay. I'd really like to go. Yeah,
that would be fun to play there. You know, I spent 3 months on tour with a big band through Europe, and everything becomes a blur. That's the big thing. You know, it's like move, unload, play, load, move. I mean, it becomes that cycle where you almost forget that you're in these unique places. And that was many, many, many moons ago. So you now live in the Albuquerque area.
Yeah.
And why? What brought you here? Is there anything? I mean, when did you get here, and what brought you to Albuquerque?
I got here in 2017. I think 17. Wait, I can't remember. 17. Yeah, I think 2017. And I had been planning to move somewhere. I was living in LA since end of 2000, 2001, right around there. And anyway, like the last 4 years I was in LA, I was thinking, man, where am I going to go? You know, I'm ready for a new, you know, some new scenery, a new place. I had my list of places, and through my travels, I got to give him, like, you know, a second look, third look, and try to get a feel for where I wanted to go. But you know, and I'd visited Albuquerque quite a few times of Corrales, because Bobby moved here.
Right.
Bobby Shoe moved here, but a while back. So when he moved, I would come and take a lesson, you know, and maybe spend a couple or a few days out here. And sometimes I would stay out here if I had a gig that ended in Albuquerque. I would stay for a day or two. So I kind of got a little feel for this place. And so out of my list of places, I picked Albuquerque.
Okay.
And I really like it. I mean, it's like I tell everybody, it's not for everybody, but it suits me. I like it, you know.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
you know, we have 4 seasons here. Like today we got snow. Most people don't even, it's like,
Yeah.
you know, most people don't even realize we actually have 4 seasons here. You know, we do have a summer and a spring and a winter and a fall.
I had about it looks like I had a couple inches of snow on my car this morning.
Yeah, yeah. I had a couple of inches on the car this morning too. So that's our third big snowstorm of the year. I love it.
And green
So
chili, green
yeah,
chili.
well, yes. Okay, let's not forget our good New Mexican
Food.
food. Oh, the
Yeah,
food here
food.
is amazing.
I know, man.
So you took lessons from Bobby when you were a kid, and now he's literally, I mean, he's a friend of yours. I mean, what's it like hanging out with your mentor, with your hero like that?
He was always really cool and easy to be around. I took my first lesson when I was around 19 or so, and you know, and then I eventually went to North Texas, and he says, "Yeah, give me a call whenever you want." Even when I wasn't going to school, you know, I could call him like once a year or so, and he would, you know, give you time and talk on the phone, and you know, very friendly. And I continued to do that when I went to UNT, and then I moved to LA about 2000, and I moved to Van Nuys
Oh,
after
that's
a
right where
couple.
he used to live.
Yeah, and after a couple or a few days after I kind of got settled in, I called up Bobby. I said, "Hey, Bobby, I moved to LA. I'm here, and I'm in Van Nuys too." And he asked where I lived. Turned out I was like really, you know, I was like I could almost walk to his pad.
Yeah.
So he invited me over, and we started hanging. And sometimes, and he was just so generous with his time. We'd listen to music and what have you. And yeah, so very, it's easy to forget that he's who he is, and
Yes.
you know.
Yeah, he's very, I mean, he's one of the most gracious men I have ever met. And I am so honored to be able to take lessons from him. And the fact that you've been doing it all these years, and that, you know, he gives you that time and to hang out with him just must be amazing. I bet the stories that he tells you are just, I mean, when I interviewed him, the stories that he was telling me were crazy. I bet you get even more because you get to hang out with him. So here's a couple of questions for you. So do you personally or perform with any other bands besides Tower of Power? I mean, is that I know that's your main gig, but do you do any work on the side when you're not touring with TOP?
Always. I mean, if I can, that's the thing. If I can, scheduling conflicts occur a lot. So when somebody calls me for a gig, I'm like, let's see. It's kind of like playing the lottery or something, or gambling. Let's see if this date will be open in the calendar. And most of the time, it's not open. So,
Yeah.
but I'm grateful for the people who continue to call me regardless. Some people cross you off the list, but some people still call you. And thank you to those people who still call me. You know.
Okay, so now what about, do you guys do with the Tower of Power horns used to do? I mean, I know they played with Huey Lewis and the News. Um, are they still doing work as a horn section for any particular bands or anything? I mean, is the TOP horns doing any work on the side?
Well, the horn section isn't going on the road with anybody at the time except for ourselves, Tower of Power. But we do recording sessions with all kinds of people, and you know, we do a few recording sessions a year for different artists, and that's always fun. I mean, I remember the first one. It was Neil Diamond when I joined the band, and that was pretty interesting. You know, Neil Diamond and Aerosmith and Smash Mouth and some other acts I can't remember, but yeah,
I bet
it's
that's
pretty busy.
fun.
It
Yeah,
is.
it is
Yeah.
fun to play with others. And you know, I mean, I don't think, did you ever have a chance to play with Huey Lewis when they were doing all their stuff? I know that was back in the 80s, but I think they did a reunion tour, the reunion something back in the 2000s. Did you ever get a chance to do any of that?
No, I did not know.
Okay, I was just curious. So what else? Let's see. So I am I like to talk about equipment, and I like to I like to hear whatever the people play. I've seen some really crazy instruments, you know, from like Ziggy plays a Del Quattro horn, Delbert Anderson plays a Inderbinen big bell. It's got like this big gigantic, oh my lord, it's an 8-inch
Really?
bell. Yeah, it's called an Inderbinen. If you look up on my YouTube page, you'll see the interview with Delbert, and at the bottom there's a link for Inderbinen. It sounds, it's a great, beautiful horn, big, heavy
Okay.
bell type thing. You are a Yamaha recording artist, right? And so you play Yamaha instruments. Which ones do you play?
I play the Z type trumpet. I played a 6310. So I started playing that like in the early 90s. But then I'm playing like an 8310Z from, I think, the first generation around like 2005, somewhere roughly around there. And sometimes I play I call it kind of a Frankenstein Z kind of. It's an 8310Z with the Eric Miyashiro bell on it.
Oh, okay.
So it's like a, you know, but I started playing the 8310Z again. And my flugelhorn, it's a 6310Z. I thought it was an 8310Z, but I was wrong. It's a 6310Z flugelhorn.
Okay. Yeah, I have the 635 T flugelhorn, which was the predecessor to the 6310. And
Okay.
I love my flugelhorn. I absolutely love my flugelhorn. And I have an old 6310Z trumpet that I play, and I love the horns. And Bobby gave me a really good history of how those came about. Quite amazing. And it's great how they developed that with him. What about your mouthpieces? What do you play for a mouthpiece?
Well, the flugelhorn, I just play the one that came with the horn. So that's a Bobby Shoe one. And now trumpet wise, I switched to the Bobby Shoe lead mouthpiece. Geez, what, 20 years ago, maybe 19,
Okay.
20 years ago. Before that, I was playing the Shoe one for a long time. And yeah, I switched to the Yamaha. And I'm also, I tried playing I tried going back to a deeper mouthpiece. So I'm kind of in a transition possibly. I'm playing a 10.5 D.
Okay.
You know, I used to play a 10.5 C, but it just felt so a little deep at the time.
Right.
I've been playing shallow for so many years, so this
Yeah.
might be a transitional mouthpiece. It might not be, but I've been getting used to the 10.5 D. So
Okay. All right. So besides Tower of Power, anything else exciting coming up? I mean, I know you're going on tour soon. You just came back from tour, but is there anything coming up soon besides Tower of Power?
well, besides Tower of Power, what else is coming up? This is all I have going on, and I'm glad to have it. I'm looking forward to it.
I get it. I just didn't know if you had anything, you know, anything unique coming up, or anything, you know, anything on the horizon. So the Tower of Power album came out 2 years ago, the live one. Do you guys working on a new album?
You know what? They were talking about doing something like a new project for next year, possibly. So
Okay.
I don't know, yeah.
Oh, good. All right. Well, let's wrap this up. I want to thank Adolfo for his time. I want to thank you for your wonderful playing, and I want to thank you for being part of one of the best groups, instrumental best groups that I have ever listened to. And for those of you who have any questions, you're more than welcome to send them my way. But thank you, Adolfo, and I appreciate your joining me today.